Hello everyone, and welcome to episode 1 of Project Nytto, a subcategory on my channel where I will be designing things in creative mode in Space Engineers and going over some of their functions, starting with these three renditions of a drilling rover. ORC stands for Oscillating Resource Collector, and I have named this the ORC-6 or ORC-6 for short. Three variations I've made are quite simple. Took a lot of time tweaking the functions of the hinges and whatnot, but let's go ahead and jump in. So starting in the ORC-6 Mark 1, we have a pretty basic setup. We have 6 medium cargo containers held together and connected by a connector in the rear, as well as some tightly packed batteries there in the center. There is a O2H2 generator on this rover, and it is functional and completely piped in. So we'll take a look at our second hotbar. Numbers 2 and 3 are controlling the hinges that the drills function off of. 2 will reverse the hinge, giving it either positive or negative velocity, and 3 will turn on the hinge lock. Now, in order to make this as effective as possible, I have cranked up the settings for the torque and the braking torque. I haven't really noticed any differentiation in my gameplay as a result of this. But if you try this blueprint out and you experience some difficulties, go ahead and turn those down. Just be careful when the drills become full of whatever you're mining out. They will be a lot heavier than just existing by themselves. Number 1 turns the drill on, and numbers 4 and 5, those are actually timer blocks I have set up on the rover here. And what they do is they raise and lower these tag axles in the middle. So pressing 5 will bring the tag axles up to a comfortable riding height. This is for when the vehicle is unladen and easily manipulated and maneuvered around its environment. However, as the mining continues and weight starts to pile up, it might be a good idea to put these axles down, giving yourself a little bit more stability as well as some extra traction. And you can mess with the wheel settings here. I have them listed under wheels. The master front would be the frontmost, master rear would be the rearmost, and tag axles is self-explanatory. They are not in a group. I should probably, oh yeah, here they are. Rear suspension, front suspension, and tag axles. So they are in 3 separate groups already set up for you. You can tweak the settings however you wish and rearrange them in your toolbar however you want to. The second vehicle is quite similar in a lot of ways, except the first thing you're probably going to notice is how chock full the toolbar is. There's a good reason for this. When mining for a specific ore, sometimes it can be a pain to get to that ore. The cargo fills up, and by the time you reach the ore that you wanted, there's nowhere left to put it. So what I've done is I've implemented a series of settings on the connector, which we will take a look at now. Right here, this throw out and collect all. Buttons 7 and 8 on the toolbar will enable collecting all and throwing out on the connector. So you can chuck out all of that unwanted stone and keep going towards whatever delicious yummy ore you're heading towards. Number 9 on the on the toolbar, is these 4 lights. 2 of them on rotors back here, 2 of them on hinges kind of towards the central front area of the rover. What I put those on there for was when I was digging down underground in this rover in my survival world, what I noticed was that it was getting increasingly difficult to see where I was going and turn myself around. I play first person a lot because I like the realistic simulation qualities that it brings. So I decided to do a quick fix, and after a couple long trips from the mine back to the base to get the necessary parts, I was able to get this up and running. All the lights are also in groups, as well as these offset spotlights for headlights, and the corner lights are more for show. They don't really do anything. We'll go ahead and turn those on. It kind of gives like a little bit of a light source if you want to conserve some power. but you still need to be able to see a small bit. I wouldn't recommend using that as your main source of lighting. Control bar 2 turns the drill on and off. The same thing as the Mark 1, 2, and 3 operate the hinges. The fixed set of drills will also turn on with the hinge drills, and that's sort of to clear a path for the top of the rover so that your spotlights, and if you have an unlucky buddy, don't get thrown off. Timer blocks do the same thing on this rover, 5 and 6. Raise and lower the suspension, and clicking number 7 allows you to switch to weapon drill, meaning you can either hold left mouse click and mine, or if you're not worried about collecting any resources, and be very careful with this as it's very easy to dig yourself into a pit, you can hold down right click, like so. Right click takes a ton of terrain, but is very useful for carving a path or clearing out an area where you would like to put a base. Third and final rendition, the Orc 6 Gradient Setter. Using drills on hinges can be very useful, but it can also be very difficult. One of the things that I struggle with the most without using any scripts is keeping my pathways level for other vehicles like cargo rovers to drive across. This one is a little wonky. For some reason, whenever it spawns in, the hinges do not spawn at the correct angles, so the middle hinge is going to be a little bit offset as opposed to the left and right hinge, but that can be easily fixed in the K menu. Accessed here, you can see all the drills: center, center 2, left, left 2, right, and right 2. Let's go ahead and fire this up. So as I said, the middle hinge gets a little wonky sometimes, but for the purposes that I was using this for, which is just a nice entryway if I was trying to tunnel through a mountain without having to traverse over it while also gathering some resources, it does set off a nice grade. The easiest way I've found to continue that grade is to start forward of where you want the entrance to be, get the hinges and drills set at the right position, and then back up while mining instead of driving forward. For some reason, rovers seem to perform better mining backwards than forwards, in some cases, this being one of them. Keep in mind as well, any settings changes you make to the wheels and the suspension strength while the vehicle is under load or empty will most likely need to be rectified when you change the status of the vehicle's weight. Grid mass, I think Keen did a very good job with this. Grid mass affects wheels performance incredibly, so watch out for that. Be careful, you might flip yourself into a pit. And I think that concludes the first ever episode of Project Nytto. Thank you all for watching. Leave a like if you enjoyed this video, and feel free to subscribe, and let me know down in the comments what I should attempt to build next, or what kind of test track we should have set up. Happy engineering, and have a great day.